Hello and welcome to my kitchen. In this series we'll focus on pasta dishes. As you may well know, pasta is a popular staple in some countries and is a key ingredient that is accompanied by many delicious sauces. It is not a secret that Italian cuisine is one of the most popular in the world. From spaghetti and penne to linguine and rigatoni, pasta is versatile and you can easily prepare the sauces in your kitchen, even in a simple kitchen such as mine over here. Pasta dishes are characterized by simplicity, with many dishes having between 4 to 8 ingredients. The beauty about this is that you end up focusing on the quality of the ingredients rather than on an elaborate preparation. I'll advise you to stick to the original recipes, although you may find some ingredients may vary depending on their availability in some regions. However, this does not mean that we cannot adapt and replace some ingredients with what is available locally. Usually my recipes stick to the original recipe, but I have taken the liberty to make some minor modifications that appeal to my palate, and I hope you find it as tasty as I do. All my recipes are quick and easy to make at home. So for the first part of this series, we'll focus on dishes cooked in a pot, and we'll do the oven-based dishes at a later stage. So, what are we cooking today? Today is a very interesting meal. It's known as Mare and Monte, which means sea and mountain. And basically, the ingredients, it's a mixture of seafood and stuff from the mountain, in this case mushrooms. And a thing I've thrown in is a sausage, Italian sausage. If there's a meal you want to cook when you have guests and you want to shine for them, this is the meal, trust me. So, and again, like all pasta dishes, it's very quick and easy to make. For this one, cooking time, I would put it at approximately 10 to 15 minutes. You'll see in my kitchen I've got 2 sets of boards, different colors. I've got my green and my pink. What I don't do is I do not mix boards. I have one board dedicated to my meats, and that's the pink one in this case. I chose pink because that's what was available, but also it's the color closest to the meats. So I do all my meat chopping and handling of my meats on the pink board, and I leave the green board, again surprisingly the color of most vegetables. I leave the green board for all my veggies, chopping, handling of veggies on the green board. Another very important thing when cooking pasta is timing your sauces and your pasta. Ideally you want both of them to get ready roughly at the same time, but you aim to get your sauce ready before the pasta, because when the pasta is done and you drain the water from the pasta, it should go straight into the ready sauce. So in this case, simply do rough math. You know, the pasta boils with 5 minutes as per the pack, 9 minutes on my adjusted time, and the preparation time here will take slightly more than 9 minutes, because I'll chop the mushrooms one by one. I've got the sausages which I'll chop and I'll fry. I'll pre-fry first. So I'd say roughly preparation time for this stuff here is about 15 minutes. So I'll not touch the water for now, but yes, I'll put it on. So it slowly comes to a boil. Always, and I'll repeat this and I'll never get tired of repeating this. When you strike, you make sure you confirm that the gas is lit, because at times it doesn't, it misfires, and that's a risk in the kitchen. Another thing with pasta dishes, what I do, because I don't want to go to the sink, wash my knife each time, I see what I'm preparing and what is less messy. When you start with the onions, the garlics, they're less messy on the knife. The sausage is the messiest. It will leave all sorts of sticky stuff on the knife. So I'll start with what's not messy, and in this case, let's say the mushrooms. The mushrooms are pretty clean enough. So there's your mushroom. and I'll just chop them like that in quarters. Now I'll just keep doing in quarters, because you want to feel the mushroom when you're eating, because they will definitely shrink from what they are now and become much smaller, right? So you just chop the mushrooms like that. Okay. Next, I'm going to work on my onions. So that's my onion. I like, now we're dicing the onion, and I like my onions, quite chunky and crunchy. I like to see them and also feel them when I'm eating. So I rarely go for the finely chopped onions. In fact, I read finely chopped. I wonder what's the role. Is it just the flavor of the onion? But in addition to the flavor, I really want to taste. In addition to the flavor, I want to bite on the onion and feel it. So I make them a bit thick. There we go. And another thing with onion, you just can't overdose on onion. So I always just use one medium-sized onion, and that's how I get it. So we have the garlic. The garlic I go for slices. So I'll just slice and again chop them. I know there's some people who prefer to grate the garlic. They say it's faster. Just choose the small grater. But when they're small and grated, they burn faster. So you end up getting burnt garlic in your food, unless you put them towards the end. So there we are. I've chopped the garlic. I've chopped the onions. I'll come for the parsley later. Wait, so my water has come to a boil. I've just lowered the fire and I know that's ready. So just to make space in the bowl, I'll just put it all in there. Both the onion and the chopped onion and the garlic all goes in there. And this is my new addition, that's leek. And then I'll just chop thin slices like that. Or sometimes you can even halve it like that and continue. So let's just halve these ones here. So that's half the leek, and I'll go down that way. So there we are. We've got that amount of leek, and we are ready to start frying. Next, we'll chop the sausages. So basically we are preparing everything that will go into the sauce first, and then I'll come back and just finish off chopping the parsley after I've done with the sausages. Or in terms I mentioned about getting stuff messy, so let's do this. I've just remembered. So following my own advice, I'll chop the parsley first and leave it on the board. So there we go. Remove the stems. So there we go. There we go, and the parsley is chopped. So what we're going to do next, so there, and I know there's no more handling with the knife. Now we go to the sausages, and that way I'll have cooked without having to go and wash the knife in the sink. It's all about planning. So the sausages, I'll just put them, 3 of them together for speed, and just cut through them. Make sure I've cut through the skin. So I've got the sausages there. I'm going to fry the sausages one by one, and the reason I'm doing this is give them that nice brown coating, so you have a little crunch of the sausage in the sauce. But also this way I'll separate them, so you won't have them piled. If I put them in the dish like this, they'll stick together. So there, as I mentioned, it really, the oil when it comes out of the thin nozzle, you know, it's easy to dose it. It's very easy to get the exact amount of oil you need to cook with, so it doesn't just spill out easily. So there we go. Let that heat up. And for sausages, I'll use that. It's easier to work with. So I'm waiting for that. So now, so far preparation time, we are roughly at about 4 minutes. Once I've done the sausages, I'll then put the tagliatelle in, and timing wise, both my sauce and my tagliatelle will be ready. Just exactly what I'm trying to aim for. So there we go. That's getting hot. I want it to be really hot so that once the sausages connect to the oil, they already start frying. So I think our oil is hot enough, and what I will do is I'll put these one by one, so that way I separate them. And of course you can see already the oil is hot, it's starting to fry. So just put them in one by one. It's not so many, it's 3 sausages, so this process will take about 2 minutes. So you can see there, I've put them all separately. Let it, and give them a little stir. A little stir there. The sausages can be a bit sticky when handling, but there we go. So there we go. You can see it's browning. I love the smell of Italian sausage. There you go. Just let it all brown nicely. Make sure it's all brown and well coated. And because we know we are bringing, the next thing is the pasta going in there, I'll just make sure that is up. There we go. Meanwhile, that's doing well. You see they're browning very well. Lovely, lovely. As I said, this is a meal you want to make when you want to shine. When you want to show what a pasta chef you are, trust me, go for this one. Very easy to prepare. It just makes you look good. So there we are. So there we go. You see my pasta the water is boiling. I'll let them go in, and then I'll just put in my tagliatelle in the water. Okay. There we are. And there we go. That's ready. You can see it's so well browned. The camera can see how nice and crunchy this is going to be. Oh boy, I'm so looking forward to this meal. So we have to salt the pasta water. So here we go. In this case, I'm putting 1 1.25 of salt. When it comes to salting the pasta, it's very important that you also bear in mind what ingredients you're using to prepare the sauce. Some ingredients are salty in themselves, like when you're using pancettas or if you're using cheeses in the sauce or smoked salmon. So you want to go easy on the salt in the pasta water. So my tagliatelle are in there. The final stage is this stage. So we've put our onions and our garlic in there. Put some olive oil. And I'm going to strike. And even if you hear, you have to make sure, you have to see the flame with your eyes. To avoid any accidents in the kitchen, it's important to confirm the flame is there. Otherwise you have gas leak and you don't know what will happen. So there we go. I've put the onions and the garlic. As you can see, they're fairly chunky pieces. I like seeing the onions and garlic in the sauce, but I also like feeling the crunch of it. So I've put that there. I'm waiting for it to start burning. Now the other thing I do is when I put in onions and garlic, I use the garlic to paste the meal. So my next ingredient will be based on the garlic. When the garlic starts turning brown, I know when the garlic starts turning golden brown, I know that's the right time now to put in my wine. Okay, the garlic will cook faster than the onion, so here we go. And you can smell the garlic and the onion and the olive oil. No, the other thing about cooking is you have to learn to use all your senses. You have to see what you're cooking, you have to smell it, you have to hear the sound, because the sound changes at different levels of cooking. When I add the wine, it will make a different sound, then it will start quiet, then the next sound you'll hear is a sort of a bubble, then the bubble will now change into a fry. So you have to understand these sounds, and they are the key indicators as to when you're to go to the next level of cooking. So there we go. Well, you can see the garlic is browning and all, and that's perfect. For me, that's perfect, because now I bring in the wine, and as I mentioned, listen to that, and you just hear. I love that sound. Yeah, I can smell the white wine. Of course, all the alcohol will evaporate, and it'll just leave a thick sauce in the end. So I'll let it just start boiling. I just want it to get to a boil. There we are. Now I can see now the boil is constant. It's spread all over. And now I'll add my leek, so that the leek also starts cooking in the wine sauce. So in goes the leek. I'll mix all that. And you can see now that the leek has added color to the sauce. And I'll just leave it. The leek will open up. This stage, the leek will open up and separate. There you can see the leek. You can see the colors in the sauce. It's really appetizing. It's really beautiful. And there we go. It started changing the sound. That's my cue. And in goes, I'll start with the prawns. Now, these prawns, I've pre-boiled them. They're boiled for about 4 minutes. So they're just about ready now. In goes the prawns. I'll give them a little mix. Let them get a bit of the wine before it disappears, as well as mix the flavors. So I'll leave that for about 1 minute. My prawns have mixed in with the rest of the stuff, as you can see over here. And now I put in my mushrooms. So now I've got the mushrooms, the prawns, the onion, garlic, and the leek in there. It's really smelling nice. And then I'll put in the cream. So I've put in the mushrooms. I'll let the mushrooms simmer for about 3 minutes. Let them drain the water, because the first thing you'll see is suddenly the sauce will become watery. So the mushrooms are releasing the water. While you're washing the mushrooms, of course, they're absorbing all that water. Meanwhile, I'll go and grate some Parmesan cheese as the last ingredient that goes in, the Parmesan and the parsley. So now we're grating the cheese, Parmesan cheese. You can see the quantities in the board at the end of the show. I love fresh. It's always good while you're cooking to taste. It helps also see whether the food is fresh. It just tastes good. Like, for example, try a bit of this cheese and then sip a glass of red Cabernet Sauvignon, or just red wine, and you'll see what I mean. This is just heaven. The last to go in now. Remember, I'd pre-fried the sausages, so they still have the crunchy coating and all. So we don't want also to overcook those, so those will go in last. So the sauce is more or less ready. I'll put in my sausages last and throw in my parmesan, and we are good to go. Throw in my parmesan and mix all that. If for some reason you feel the sauce is a bit too thick and you want it more saucy, no problem. Like at this stage, if you feel you need some sauce for the cheese to melt, you just take it from the pasta water and add it in there. Right now I still have some sauce, and you can see it over there. You can see the white creamy sauce, and meanwhile I will drain this. So before I drain the pasta, I want to explain something here. I have the colander, and I always make it a habit to drain the pasta water into another pot. So I put the colander on top of the pot over there, because that is water that you will need in case you need to thin the sauce. You're best taking water from the pasta water that's in there, as opposed to taking fresh water. Remember also the water from the pasta is salty, it's got the right amount of salt, so that the pasta goes in there. And I also put my fresh parsley, and I'll mix everything together. There we go. For mixing is very simple. I use the spoon I use to cook the garlic with, and I use the fork that I stirred the pasta with. So there we go. Oh, it's looking good, it's smelling good, and I'm sure it will taste just as good. And just to, that's what I meant. You can take water from pasta water, add a little bit in case you're feeling the sauce is too dry. That's okay. It does not alter the taste. So there we are. Dinner is served. Time to taste for ourselves. So there's the sauce, as you can see. The reason I'm stirring it up is just to make sure that I don't overserve one of the ingredients of the other. So I just mix it up and make sure I've got a balance of everything. So there we are. That's our meal today. Mare and Monte. Basically, Mare and Monte, as I mentioned earlier, means from sea and mountain. So you have the prawns from the sea, and you've got the mushrooms from the mountain, and of course I've thrown in the Italian sausage in between. So let's see. I always start by putting a bit of black pepper in my food. I love black pepper. So let's see. Taste a bit of that. Lovely. The prawn is perfect. The mushroom too, as I said earlier. If you want to show off your cooking skills, impress, this is the meal to impress your guests. Go for it anytime. In fact, what are you waiting for? Start cooking. So, there you have it. You have seen how simple and quick that was. Thank you for keeping me company while I whipped up a simple pasta dish, and I hope your pasta turns out as good and you enjoy every single bite. Always remember to serve pasta hot and straight out of the pan, so time yourself so as to find your family or guests seated at the table before you do the final mix. Your feedback is always valuable, so please send me a note to the contacts on the screen, and I'd love to hear what you think of the dish you tried at home. Buon appetit!